Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Watkins Glen International for round 4 of the Domains2U GT3 Championship, proudly presented by MC Motorsport and broadcast right here for you with Simple Racing Broadcast. My name is Jared Cole, and it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you here to the Glen, and the sprint gloves come off as our GT3 grid tackles a 90-minute mini enduro round here at what is one of the most well-known tracks that you are likely to see anywhere on the iRacing service. Classic American circuit it is indeed, with its high-speed corners, fast-flowing elevation changes, and of course that delightful bus stop chicane. It's going to test not only our driver's skill but endurance and strategy as well, with fuel windows, tyre wear and pit stop precision all playing major roles. Consistency over speed tonight might just be the key to victory. We've of course already seen the fierce competitiveness this season from this GT3 field, and with even more championship points on the line tonight, don't expect anyone to hold back, whether it's bold overtakes through the boot or crucial decisions made on pit lane. Round 4 shaping up to be an absolute thriller, and it is a pleasure as always to be joined in the booth by Dean Biggleshopton. Biggles, welcome back to the booth once more, and I tell you what, after last week I am very, very keen to see what Watkins Glen has in store for us tonight.
Well, it's a New York, baby, so you know it's tarmac jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do.
Oh,
and there's something you can't. Yeah, I'll break in the song. It's New York. Yeah. Anyway, we won't get into Frank Sinatra, of course. He'd be happy to see these cars battling their way around the upstate New York track at the moment. It's going to be about qualifying. We have at least a ton of Centurions and Gladiators, or perhaps what you call Minutemen, here battling in to try to keep the Redcoats out of the United States of America. No, you know what? Just keep them on the track. No, I'm not to worry about. That's already been decided.
For tonight, isn't it? Just a nice clean race over an hour and a half. It is going to be an interesting change of pace. We don't, of course, have the sprint to open things up this evening, and the weather thankfully seems to be holding off. It is a little overcast, but no rain in the forecast for this evening, despite the humidity climbing up just a little. But it is a fairly cold track. Only 22 degrees, Biggles. I think the tyres are probably going to be loving it more than anyone else this evening here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, probably the fact that it's getting into our weather, isn't it? Over in our neck of the woods, is getting cool in Australia, of course, and new government, and of course, well, if you haven't tuned in recently, we'd have to say we have a new potential Formula One world champion in the making, isn't it? Because you're certainly on the roll. He's certainly on the roll. And,
yeah, speaking of champions, let's take a look at who's on track right now. You can see the cars out on track right now going through open qualifying. Before we take a look at some of the action there, potential champions in the making, Reese Wakefield continues his run at the top of the standings, but only 20 points behind his last season's champion Jeremy Washington, so still a very, very tight battle as we enter the last of the first half of this season, which isn't confusing at all, of course.
No.
Then Josh Benno hanging in there as well. Don't count out Daniel Poulton or Kyle Ridley for that matter. Mick Polly's still in there with a shot. Even Lachlan Burke and Dean Power back in 7th and 8th. They are not that far separated from the top of the standings, with Aaron Gilbert and Nathan Bowman rounding out the top 10. In fact, Chris Bleakley tied with Nathan Bowman for the top 10. It's still anyone's season from here, I reckon, the Biggles.
Yeah, 96 points at the top. They're 396 all the way down to, let's say, the 300 club of Aaron and Nathan. Yeah, absolutely. As you said, it's just one really bad round. Cost you a ton of points. Yeah, you could be in a little bit of a strife there. But, of course, you have the luxury if you're up the top of the timesheets, like Reece Wakefield there, on top of the scoring sheets, as I was mentioning. But, of course, with Jeremy Washington, Joshy, Daniel, Kyle, they're all hunting it down. You can't afford really to have a bad race. You can afford to get yourself a top 10 result at that point, and I think drivers need to be thinking about that as well, too deep into a championship, that, hey, you know, I can't perhaps win every race, I can't perhaps get on a podium every single time, but I can consecutively score maximum points that I can get and what I'm capable of doing, and especially here in upstate New York, that's what it's all going to be about this evening.
Absolutely. Let's go back and catch the last 5 minutes of qualifying as that it happens right now. We are, of course, jumping down to the track, and let's check out how these drivers are looking as we see a couple of drivers coming in to the pits. And look, for an hour and a half long race, we've got 5 minutes left to go in qualifying. Really, the top 29 drivers separated by less than 1.8 seconds tells me it's going to be a fiercely contested evening here at Watkins Glen. I think I get an inkling, Biggles, that perhaps these drivers might be a little bit familiar with this track.
I hope so, because it's a classic. And generally, when you're going to grab yourself a wheel and a racing rig, and you're going to go to iRacing, you have to at some point go over to the North American circuit here at Watkins Glen. And if you don't, you might be in a bit of trouble, because most leagues around the planet will use this as a road course. Even the NASCAR will use it a little bit different, of course. They won't have the teal and the boot, like the toe and all that sort of stuff in the boot. They'll make it a little bit more simplified for the American folks. However, you should drive it and you should know it well, because it's always a part of any fantastic racing league calendar.
Reece Wakefield, we were just talking about him leading the championship, just crossing the line and setting the fastest time here in qualifying. And the man looking so very, very calm, cool and collected as he does it. 1:43.581. It's a good 3/10 faster than Josh Benno's best time so far. Reece is here to prove a point once again this evening, I'm sure. But you've got to keep an eye out for the likes of Jeremy Washington, who we see on his way around.
Reece Cam. Yeah.
It's
bit of Reece Cam.
Bit of Reece Cam. Something we've added for the drivers this season, if they do choose to get into it.
Where's the trophies up there, Reece? I see a couple of trophies up your shelf there earlier, but yeah, I mean, he's certainly on a way to getting another one. 3:10 faster than everybody else. I mean, geez, is that Oscar or Reece in the car? Or is that Oscar giving Reece advice there? I'll tell you what, champions in the making, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's certainly quick in the GT3. There's no contesting it, but there is a lot of competition here this evening. You can see by that timing board, you've got to go all the way back to 15th before you get outside of a second of that time. So even though there is quite a bit of a gap to P2, the rest of the field will be right as tails. We see in the background a bit of contact there from one of the Mustangs. Looks like it might have been Lauren Long, who's just had a bit of a moment, but hanging in there, that is the main thing. A couple other names to watch for. Mick Polly, of course, the Southern Cross Racing entry Porsche, is in amongst it, so he's currently set to start P5, a big hit into the wall.
Yeah. In amongst the wall, my friend, exactly. It's next Porsche. He's either in lap or out lap, but either way, he has got a couple of minutes and change to get the fastest lap he can throw that Porsche around. Porsche's not too bad at the moment, second, fourth, and fifth. Let's see if we can move his way out past the Dean of Deans a little bit further up there. Dean Jacobson would be electrical in timing tower, but they got a lot of work to catch Reece's, mate. 3/10 at least up the road from Joshua is a blistering pace.
Absolutely, it is very, very quick right throughout that top 10. Courtney Platts joins us again in the chat. Welcome back, Courtney. Hopefully we get to see a bit more of Kyle this evening for you. Right now sitting in that 12th place, so a little way down the field. with his McLaren, but it's an hour and a half long, and frankly, it doesn't seem like the.
Look at Carl's picture as well too.
Yeah, look, I don't even want to ask what that Michelin Man thing is, but it's certainly something.
Pink is the new red, my friend, as well too. It goes quite well around Miami, so let's see how it handles here in upstate New York, my friend.
Speaking of pink being the new red, Ian Ward also rocking the bright pink.
Lovely.
His McLaren. Maybe it's just a McLaren thing, I don't know. But certainly can't miss him in amongst the field, which is always easy for us. As Lachlan Burke goes P4 for FCR Motorsport. Another very, very quick time there, 1:44.04. His best as we come towards the final minute of qualifying. I tell you what, Biggles, an hour and a half around Watkins Glen, I would absolutely take that over the 3-hour drive back from the Sunshine Coast today in public holiday traffic. Jeremy Washington goes number 1. 1:43.5, 3,000ths of a second faster than Reese Wakefield, just barely squeezing by. I don't know if Reese has got time to actually have another crack at that.
Well, I drove to the shops today and I thought there was no traffic, so I thought he must have been on the freeway where you were, my friend. So anyway, but yes, going on that one, Reese Wakefield, Jeremy Washington, of course, steals that show away by 300,000. So that's a big piece of paper that you have between us here up in the booth. Anybody else can bring the A game that you're going to need here in Watkins Glen. And number 2, it's very crucial to be up the front 4, really, I'd say, because it's in a great position. Shenanigans do occur around this track, and you want to be in the right place, which is up the front.
Those first couple of turns, I really hope the drivers are thinking very, very safe thoughts here tonight. We're not thinking about winning an hour and a half long race in turn 1. It's going to be a bit of an ask. Kyle Ridley currently on track to improve his best time. He's got very, very little time to get it done, though. Only about 15 seconds left here. He's going to just barely miss out on setting this time, I think. We'll have to keep an eye on it. He's being held up a little bit by traffic ahead.
Yeah, he's got that little Ferrari call to say, I'm quicker than Charles, and Lewis is saying no, but he doesn't have to worry about that. Ryan across the line to get in time. Will Kyle stay P14? No, it won't. Kyle will stay P5. He will say, boom, thank you very much. Got the job done. Maybe the tow helped him out a little bit, but certainly the pink machine is on fire here, and that's a great position to start the Glen in.
Not a bad way to go at all. We've still got a few drivers making their way around, of course. Aaron Schotter looking to improve his time here.
Keep an eye out for Dan, the man, too. Just set a purple sector.
He's still slower, though, throughout the rest of his as well. I'm actually just having a look. It looks like Daniel Poulton very late.
He hasn't set a time yet at all. This is it. This is the last of the late Dan the man. You're going to have to get something at least, my friend. You don't want to be going from the outhouse to the penthouse, my friend, as the checkered flag is waved by the barn star. Will Dan improve on his time? Has he gone off track? He will. Dan, up at a P4. He says, yeah, man, I am Dan.
Sneaks it in there at the death. I tell you what, I was just having a look. I'm thinking, what's going on with Daniel Poulton? He's actually run 5 or 6 laps already, but that's the first one he's actually made count. So he's obviously pushing the absolute limits of the track lines this evening. I suspect a few off tracks probably contributing to that one. James Bunker on his way around doesn't look like he's going to improve his time on this run either. Chris Bleakley not too far off. Just a few drivers left to finish their qualifying run.
With the Vegemite sandwich, get across the line, my friend James. He gets a P13. Hey, nothing like a Vegemite sandwich. Try to explain that to the Americans and how to...
Rev Mortimer has had a big hit. That front left is absolutely frozen solid. He's just trying to limp it back to the pits at the moment. And then Josh Marsh from Tulip Racing, just about to round that final bend. Doesn't look like he'll be improving his best time, as Aaron Jones crosses the line and just ahead of him, and looks set to stay in P30. Josh Marsh improves his final sector, but stays P26 overall.
Usual suspects at the top there: JW, Reese Wakefield, Joshua, Dan, James, Kyle, Lachlan, Dean Jackson for pretty good performance there as well too. Nikolai and Aaron round out your top 10s. The rest of the drivers are just gonna squabble their way around upstate New York, my friend. What dreams are made of.
It should provide for some very interesting racing here tonight, particularly that bus stop. Like the boot is good fun, don't get me wrong, But I do wonder
Called
a little.
the trunk.
The trunk.
It's the trunk.
As we wait to see what's happening here.
We have a grid, my friend.
We do have a grid. Give us just a moment, folks, as we get this organised for you. Jeremy Washington and Reese Wakefield taking the front row. Josh Benno and Daniel Poulton on row number 2 ahead of James Salhani and Kyle Ridley. And Lachlan Burke and Dean Jacobson ahead of Mick Polly and Aaron Gilbert. Dean Powell and Nathan Bowman round out your first page of the grid. We'll take a look further back. James Bunker and James Lawrence line up alongside each other in row 7 with Simon Kaplan and Ryan Palmer behind them. Chris Bleakley and Henry King ahead of Mitch Curry and Aaron Schotter. Then Josh Harris and Trev Mortimer ahead of Ian Ward and Ronald Long. Further back through the field, Dan Merker and Josh Marsh will line up ahead of Matt McKeer and Luke Patton. Patrick Frame and Aaron James rounding out your top 30. Then Dylan Thomas and Daniel Harrod ahead of Charlie Milliken and Chris Lashbrook. Bradley Mitchell and Wiley Blair, the last of the drivers on the grid. Pete Manette and Nathan Allen all set to take the reins if we do need a safety car this evening. We can only hope, Biggles, that we do get a very, very clean race. I don't know about you, but an hour and a half of safety car is not what I'm here to see. I suspect, though, we're going to see plenty of racing over that time and not a whole lot of yellow flags.
Just depends on where you are. If you happen to get caught up in any early lap shenanigans and you're down in the field there, you'll be praying for that safety car too. But we rack them and restack them back up to the field. But absolutely, if you are running up the front there where Jeremy, Reese and Joshua and Dan are, we wouldn't be praying for a safety car anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. We'll just wait for the drivers to get themselves sorted out a little here. And you can see the grid still fairly empty. A lot of drivers yet to jump in. Obviously an hour and a half of racing ahead of them. A few rest stops perhaps before we get underway here this evening. Hope you're all doing well though. If you are in Queensland, hope you enjoyed the long weekend.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, yeah. Long weekend.
Yeah, but it's a holiday for us at the moment, mate. Why are we working?
Well, look, this is good fun as well, isn't it?
Of course. I was going to say, I said to people the other people the other day, I was like, there's no, you don't go to Google or Amazon and it says, I'm sorry, we're shut down for the holiday. Please come back tomorrow. No, the internet never sleeps. Neither does motor racing.
No, it doesn't. There's always something going on somewhere in the world with iRacing. And tonight, where else would you rather be than right here with MC Motorsport, the Domains2U GT3 Championship? It's been a cracker so far. I can't believe it's only round 4. It feels like we've had just so much more racing than that already, but we're still so early into it.
And you'll have to ask the drivers about that one. We're going to feel like, I'm tired, I'm about to retire. I've just done so many rounds already. Yeah, well, it's been a good day for Australia today. If you haven't caught up on the news on that one, we should, in motor racing at least. And
things going on.
There are a few things going on, and it's up to Jeremy. I'm looking forward to the Jeremy Washington and Reese Wakefield show in the turn 1. That's going to be very, very interesting. Joshua and Danny P lurking in the background on that road too. That's going to see if they can seize any opportunity. Let's not get, well, we know what happens in Formula 1, isn't it? Into turn 1 shenanigans. Let's see what happens here in the MC Motorsports GT3 turn 1 shenanigans.
Still plenty of time left for our drivers here. They've actually been given an extra bit of time to grid here, I suspect, on
that little alarm going. Yeah. They're running out of their pit garages straight into the car there. The crew's got them all ready. We're waiting for Danny P, Patrick, Pete, and Nathan. So 4 cars remaining on the grid. Drivers are waiting in anticipation, actually flashing their lights going, come on! And we want Danny. Danny's in. Patrick, come on. Pete and Nathan. Maybe they're in race control as well too, or perhaps even medical crew at the back there.
Just about to finish gridding up, getting ready to go racing. Starters orders coming through right now. Here we go. We've got the green flag at the back of the pack. The lights come up. Jeremy Washington will be looking for a very solid start here to hold off Reese Wakefield as we get the green to go, and that is 1.5 hours here at the Glen underway. And immediately we can see the cars going 3, 4, 5 wide. That is a very, very bold start as we make our way down into turn 1. This is potentially going to be very messy. You can see Ian Ward taking a big dive up the inside there. And everyone charges on through turn 1 at Watkins Glen. Somehow we've made it through one piece, because what a way to start.
Yeah, don't know bold and brave an endurance race this early at the moment, but James making some moves there on Danny P has. So James up there for the 188 machine, slots in behind. So far so good. Norman and Ryan battling out a little bit further down the field. They're going to slot in side by side. They're going to just take it easy, gentlemen. There is a long way to go.
Oh,
a short time to get there. But then again, I spoke too soon.
We've got a whole bunch of cars around. Yeah. Josh Harris involved in that, Josh Marsh as well. And it looks like one of the Antic Motorsports entries, James Lawrence, Trev Mortimer's caught up in that as well as the drivers start to sort themselves out.
3 cars. Are we going to call a safety car just yet? I'm not quite sure they get going.
Safety car has just been called.
Yeah, there it is.
Control.
I just noticed everybody going a little bit slow there, so they've deemed that a little bit too unsafe. So we can have a look at that one too. Chris, Josh, Trev, they are the 3 or 4 unfortunate victims. Early days here at the Glen.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see at the start of an hour and a half of racing, but honestly, not completely surprised given the competitiveness that we have seen from this group before. Let's go back and see if we can catch just what kept that off. But I suspect it's just one of those things. You get to the bus stop for the first time. Chris Bleakley.
And you forgot your ticket.
First to go off track.
Yeah.
The iRacing Designs.
Oh,
showing there it is. So just a little bit sideways from the chaos that followed. So Chris Bleakley getting
the humanity
off the track from I think it might have been James Lawrence even. Yeah, James Lawrence the first nudge. He gets spun around and then nowhere for him to go. Unfortunately, the McLaren 720, the number 720, unfortunately copping a lot of damage. Trev Mortimer, his view of things.
Oh, again, there is no view of his. It's straight into the side plot of the 720, isn't it?
What do you even do at that point?
You can't, mate.
Josh Harris, the view from the cockpit. This is what it looked like as he came through. Just
got
rear end
clipped.
tapped.
Yeah.
And nowhere else but there to wait.
His rear view camera's looking forward at that point, isn't it, too? So
yeah, that's
not the place that Josh wants to be. Yeah, I mean, we are upside down in Australia if you are tuning in from the next to the woods, but trust me, the toilet does flow the other way. And unfortunately, the cars turn the other way as well, too. So Reese Wakefield got 1 place on Jeremy Washington. Can we have a look at that race start? See how Reese got Jeremy into turn 1?
I actually don't know that it was into turn 1, but we'll take a look.
Oh, well.
Let's see what we can see here. Big start, of course.
Big bulk down there from the new Porsche.
James Sahani, it's a good view forward. We'll see if we can see exactly where Wakefield got the jump. It really was just off the start, wasn't it?
No, yep.
Huge one off the start.
Yep. Reese just said, thank you very much. I got the traction down, I got the launch, got the clutch engaged, and there he is on the picture there. Reese got a little bit of a smile on his face saying, got the job done for the man from Brisbane, of course, on his holiday here up in the great state of Queensland. Kingsland now. We haven't changed it to Kingsland, have we?
We changed the state name.
No, we haven't changed the state name. No, but we still have the Union Jack. If you have tuned into the Formula 1 earlier, you'll see a lot of Union Jacks on the podium.
Plenty around. And, Oscar doing us proud. Can't argue with that.
He is. Now. You know what? I was surprised as well too. I was going to go back on Formula 1, of course, because it's Pinnacle Motorsport, but he, all the media people were punning, oh, Max, oh, Lando, blah, blah, blah. Nobody picked Oscar. And I just go, well, that's why you're not good at punting, my friends, because you should always pick Oscar. That's one for the chat too. Would you have picked Oscar for that one? We are spoiler alerting, by the way, too, if you haven't tuned in for that one. If you haven't, just yeah, small. But how could you even go on social media if you're not going to know that one as an Australian?
Well, look, there is that. There is that. We'll make our way around. I suspect the safety car will be coming in this time around. We've already seen, interestingly, some pit stops happen from a number of people, and I don't think they were all caught up in that incident. Makes me wonder whether it's just a case of, putting that extra top up of fuel in there. I'm not actually sure. We will have to might have to try and confirm this. That is a good idea. I suspect that the fixed fuel format for the fixed setups that these drivers are running, I don't think allows them to actually take a full fuel load off the grid. So,
Nathan is our pace car driver there. Nathan Allen this evening. He's getting that green machine. He will be leading his drivers around perhaps for another lap to, half a lap. Biggest gainers as well. Henry King does pop into pit road too. So he's dropped his 13th or so place to take that gamble there and get some splash and dash. Biggest gainers so far, you'd have to say go down to Aaron James, 16 positions gain there, 18 for Bradley in P17, 15 for Dylan Thomas, 15 for Charlie, Chris down in 18th and 19th place there. But in the top 10 biggest gainer, you'd have to say the boss man, Mitch Curry. He's up 9.
He's had a great start. Now, look, half that's probably just avoiding that incident. The other half, maybe a little bit of a bonus from some of those pit stops, but plenty of time to go here tonight, of course. An hour and a half of racing, and we're only 6.5 minutes in. I'm hoping that with what is effectively a rolling start here, we might come away with a nice clean, I don't know, next half hour or so. One safety car would do, thank you, drivers.
No shenanigans into the first couple of turns, drivers. If you would like to see the checkered flag at the end of the race, you got to remember it's an endurance race, not a sprint race, so you won't win it on 2 or 3 laps.
It's always the concern, though, with a bit of safety car, isn't it? That on the restart, people forget that their tyres are still cold. They didn't complete a full lap under race conditions, so those tyres are still absolutely ice cold. The grip's not going to be there, but these drivers, having had that little shot of adrenaline off the line, they'll be ready to go straight away. I don't know about you, Biggles, but I'm not feeling overwhelmingly confident about our chances of not seeing another safety car within the
When's
next
the
couple of
last
minutes.
time you feel overly confident, my friend, when producing many races here on Simple Broadcasting? See, it's simple, my friend. Relax. The drivers will get it done. The top 20 have all potentially gained positions. The 21st places downwards haven't, but they have a different strategy in play. And that's what it's all about in an endurance race. So just breathe in, breathe out with me. We'll be okay, my friend. We'll get through this in the chat there. Will you get through with us as well? We'd hope so. Courtney certainly is.
Strategy, though. 7 minutes into an hour and a half. Who'd have
Well, of course you would, wouldn't you?
You'd be talking strategy at that point. Like,
yes.
Your first 5 laps or so is just, okay, set up race position, get the nerves out, get all those pre-race jitters out, get into the flow of the track, and then start to think about strategy. None of that for these drivers. They've had to jump straight into it on lap
But you
1.
also would, because you've just gained a ton of more laps of your overall strategy. You go into this race, of course, going, okay, we'll get to X lap under, regular racing conditions, and then we'll look at our strategy. But now you're going to be like, oh, well, we had a really early safety car. Now we've extended this by 3 laps. Now we don't really quite know how further we're going to go. Are we still going to stick to our ultimate strategy, or are we going to do what some drivers did? I'd like to go down the pit road and change it up. That's going to be a little bit of the key. Nothing for the top runners at this point, but it's something that may come into play a little bit further down the field.
Could do. Courtney just saying that she's loving the safety cars because Ridley can't lose any positions. You know what? That is the ultimate. What's the word I'm looking for? Optimist way to look at safety cars.
Carl Ridley has not lost any places. The number 6 position for the 270 as we're going to get ready to go. Pace cars peeled in there. Thank you very much, Nathan Allen. So, Reese Wakefield in the lead. Jeremy Washington ready to get that loud paddle as loud as possible as we're going to go green flag racing here in the MC Motorsports series here. Watkins Glen, welcome to New York.
Almost the 10-minute mark. We are in for lap number 2 under race conditions. A much more sedate start at the front of the pack, but looking further back, there's still positions to be gained, and everyone looking for it into turn 1 again as we get back out onto the Glen and we can luck through the S's for the second time at full noise. Now out in front, Reese Wakefield.
Jeremy's got a good run. Jeremy's got a great run.
Around the outside to the bus stop. That is an interesting line. It's going to have to drop back in. Oh, that's
He's going to be in trouble.
So
It's Danny's spinning in the background. Danny's facing the wrong direction. That'll be from the penthouse to the outhouse, my friend, on that one, my friend. Yeah, he is in big trouble. He can't go anywhere at this point. He's got to let the whole stacked 36 cars go all the way through there. It'd be frustrating, but then he's just got to get his head down there change up his strategy and think about something else at this point, as Jeremy did peg a little pun there on Reese Wakefield, but Reese did cover it off at the moment there. James in P3, Joshua P4.
Not at all what Daniel Coulton would have been hoping for, and I imagine his team just on the radio to him immediately and just having a bit of a chat about taking a breath, as you said, and remembering we've still got an hour and 20 of racing here to go. A lot of positions to make up now, though. It's a huge field he's going to have to cut his way through, and he doesn't even have the benefit of having taken a pit stop under that first safety car. So,
my friend, think about Dean. Think about Dean's on the back there of Lachlan. He's putting a bit of pressure big time in that battle for P6. On your pitches is Josh and James also battling. That's not a Lloyd firm at the moment there. That's Josh and James battling for third and fourth. Going to sort themselves out there. You don't want to get too much into a spread so early. If there are positions, if you get a car, go for it. Fastest man on the last lap is Joshua Bernard there in P4.
Go back and take a look and just see if we can catch what on earth caused Daniel Coulton's little moment there, and I suspect he might have just overcooked it on the cold tyres. And that's all it is. No contact anywhere. He's just gone too deep on the cold tyres.
Well, the fence did contact him, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I can't argue with that at all. The iRap Designs replay making it very, very clear for us.
Wrap that one, my friend. Yeah, Danny doesn't want to wrap that replay around, but it will be iWrapped, as we're going to be seeing Dean maybe wrapping his way past Lachlan. And that's the battle for P6 at the moment. Side-by-side action.
Oh,
there it is. He had the lift off, didn't he? Had the lift off.
Dean backed way off, and as
on
a
the right
result,
side of him.
Nathan Bowman going through. Porsche's battling it out back here, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Josh Benno just a little further up, and then it's McLaren's as well. Reese Wakefield, a little bit lonely out in front, you've got to say, in that Acura compared to his usual group, as Mitch Curry takes advantage and goes past Dean Jacobson as well.
11 up for Mitch. He's loving the Glen at the moment. He may be thinking about a 7th place soon as well, too. So keep an eye on that. The red machine there of Mitch Curry, the boss man from Wollongong, New South Wales. Getting it done, getting to know you, getting to know the Glen, getting to know the other drivers.
Further back in the field, Ryan Palmer's looking to put the move up the inside of Dean Power. The two Mustangs almost side by side on the entry. And Dean Power getting just stuck in the middle of the two ADHD entries as they round the final turn.
So stuck in the fence as well, almost, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want any of that. Chris Lashbrook out in front of him. Maybe just playing a little bit of interference. I don't know. Ryan Palmer, though, can't seem to get past the motor. Right behind him, Mick Poley in that distinctive green and gold Southern Cross Racing Porsche as yet another of the Mustangs to fend off, this time in the form of Aaron Gilbert from King Shifters. So plenty going on. We take a look further up, though. Nathan Bowman and Lachlan Burke into the bus stop. The two Porsches were almost side by side. Bowman just pulls out a little earlier, gets on the brakes and just keeps his race alive. And smart driving at this point is absolutely the call. It's very, very early in a comparatively
Dean Power. Dean's gone around. Big smash. There's contact. Dean and Trev. You see it in your pictures at the moment. Trev's also another party involved. There is definitely. And Chris Bleakley is in a bit of strife there. That car is missing whole front fender. 3 Top Guns, my friend, are out of the
some repairs
Top Gun Academy.
There, that's for sure. We'll go back
trying to think. Miramar, there it is.
Miramar
Air Force Defense Base, Top Gun reference.
Let's go back as we see Reese Wakefield leading him out. I don't know if we're going to get away. We're not going to get away without another safety car there, so small miracles, I suppose. Let's go back and take a look and see just what happened for Dean Power, the iRacing Designs replay. Again,
the chicanes,
that bus stop does it, and just nowhere to go. Gets the nudge from Trev Morton, and that puts him directly in front of Chris Bleakley. And it looked like it might have been, who was it? Patrick Frame from MC Motorsports in the Acura that got caught up in that as well. So really unfortunate. Trev Mortimer on the way through, just absolutely flying in. And
Dean was a pinball and a pinball machine there, and everybody had to react to it because it's a blind corner as well too. They're absolutely pedal to metal, nowhere to go. So of course, what are you going to do? Reactions like a shark. You're not going to have enough time. You are committed to the corner. You're committed to the exit. There's a car turning. all of a sudden.
Oh,
Lachlan
look out.
is turning.
Lachlan Burke, a horrible moment, has come back across the track and has absolutely wiped out. Who was that? It was Dean Jacobson?
Yes, Dean and Lachlan got a little bit of a tango, and unfortunately one of the dance partners said, "You stood on my foot." And they didn't like it, and unfortunately for Lachlan, he's going to sit there for a long time. He's going to have to wait for the whole field to pass him. That's the problem when you're running at the front, my friend, too. As you know, if you're off in the kitty litter or you're off in the fence, you'll have to sit there. But Lachlan's still sitting there just to get you a little information at the moment. He has not moved. So if he doesn't move, he has. Now the team has recovered the car. They've safely towed him behind the fence. But Lachlan is not looking good.
What's happened, whether he's hit the fence there, or if that has been... I'll have to go back and take a look at that. Let's see if we can see exactly what's happened for Lachlan Burke. I'm not quite sure how on earth.
He's still sitting there towed, yeah. We have to go back to, I think, when...
It is. So he
Trev,
actually,
yep, you got it.
Oh, that's a big hit into Dean Jacobson. That rejoin didn't look like he had proper control of the car. There's no way I would have expected one of these drivers to come across the track like that.
Yeah, it sounds something I would do.
Yeah, for poor old Lachlan
I was
Burke.
going to say you, my friend, because you can drive. But I would do that on iRacing.
Let's not get too crazy. Mick Polly looking for an opportunity up the inside at the start of the S's. Looking to put moving Chris Lashbrook, can't quite get it there. Slots back in because, of course, he's got to defend from Aaron Gilbert, who was about to make a move around the outside. And then, of course, right behind him, James Bunker, the Vegemite McLaren.
Yeah, don't mess with the Vegemite, mate, because it's biting here. It's got a little bit of the scrape the bottom of the barrel, scrape the excess residue out of the cylinders, my friend. Give you a little bit more horsepower on the back there of the 156 McLaren. 203 and the 911. Fancy that, the 911 is a Porsche as well.
Of course, we've got Dan Moko further up. This is the battle for 10th. Matt Bakir barely hanging on. Dan Moko threatening to go around the outside. Bakir goes just a little wide, and that's going to let Moko up the inside. Now, can Dylan Thomas from Fisher Motorsport capitalise as well?
Contact as well, too. Yeah, door banging, my friend.
Just a little bit of panel rubbing. Look at how far over Mirko is pushing Bakir into that corner, just really
I reckon
Dylan
will get a nice send here at the moment there for that battle brewing. If you can slot back in, of course. It has sorted itself a little bit further. Charlie's battling with Bradley further back. In fact, Charlie has it. Bradley's gone around.
Goes around. Just overcooks it through the corner, slides off to the side, and it looks like Charlie Milliken's gotten caught up in it somewhere as well.
And I think Bradley's in forward way. No, he just had to wait for everybody to go through.
He's just waiting for that. I'm not sure what's happened to Charlie Milliken either, as he's just limping it back here. Very, very slow in that accurate. What's happened to Milliken? He's missed the pits there.
Yeah, he's gone past the pit lane.
He's gone past the pits.
So Charlie's continued. Maybe just got Kitty up there. Maybe just kind of get a feel of the car.
You know what's happened? We've missed it there. Milliken's been responsible for Mitchell getting turned around. He's just redressed that.
Right, he's done the right thing. He's in the gentleman agreement. He's tipped his hat and said, "My bad, Bradley." Yeah, I like that. So it won't go to the stewards as well too. So good call on that one. And he lives to battle again, Patrick, for another day.
We'll go further back up, and Mick Polly in 15th, holding off Lashbrook, Gilbert Bunker and Shotter still. The battle continues here in the mid-pack. And just a couple of positions changing hands here and there. Ian Ward will further up one to keep
he might get Mitch Curry on the inside here at the moment. Mitch Curry, is on the inside there. Ian Ward's going to stay on the racing line and say, "Okay, boss man, bring in your A game, my friend."
That's actually Nathan Bowman ahead of him. Ian is a little
sorry,
back.
Yep, you're right.
Dylan Thomas, though, makes the move on Bakir. He's going to get the drive out of the corner. Bakir, though, on the inside for the next turn. Dylan Thomas can't quite get it done yet. He's looking for an over-under as they make their way through. That puts him in a great spot to try and take past, but Bakir just gets the drive out of the corner. Dylan Thomas throwing everything he can at Bakir's Porsche, just not there yet.
Oh,
Thomas takes a big dive.
He's throwing everything. Yeah,
there's contact, and into the wall goes Dylan Thomas.
I don't think that was that wise, Dylan. I understand there was a gap car, but you've got to wait and remember, if you would have just went a little bit behind him, You would have got him in the turn one. You would have got him in turn one. The speed you had at the corner. Dylan now has to frustratingly wait for everybody to pass him. So once again, another driver from the penthouse to the outhouse, and he's going to dive into pit road at the moment as well too. So he's going to look and get some repairs done. Dylan Thomas, Fishy Motorsports entry, has a lot of work to do, but he does have 1 hour and 9 minutes on his side.
He does, and maybe that's the time to send it. We've got a bit of time to sleeve to do some repairs and perhaps recover it. I don't know. Either way, it was a very, very bold move, and I don't know if it was really on, but he was giving it a shot. Maybe just getting a little bit frustrated, feeling like he was being held up by Bakir. In the end, Matt Bakir has lost a few places, but he's still running up here in 19th, just with Simon Caplet. And Dylan Thomas definitely coming off the worst there. Chris Lashbrook losing the position just there to bunker in the Vegemite. McLaren, that's a nice name. It's not. The Ford drivers and McLaren drivers would be very upset with me. I got that wrong too often. We'll jump up front because James Selhani now, holding off Josh Benno as best he can. But Benno, again, now
this is where you get the overtake opportunity done. You wait out of the exit, no pun intended there earlier, but you've got to just wait and see if you can get it down here. And you can't get it down here, you've got plenty of time on your side. Just chase the driver around there, force some mistakes perhaps if you can. I wouldn't send any late sends just yet, even if you are getting frustrated if you feel that the driver's a little bit slower than you up the road, because your race could be over and done and dusted there in a single turn. At this point, with such time remaining, you don't want to risk it for the biscuit, my friend, unless that biscuit tastes damn nice. If that biscuit tastes like champagne, I would risk it. If it don't taste like champagne, don't risk it.
Champagne tastes beer budget over here, my friend. Josh Benno, though, he's been very, very measured so far this season. We haven't seen him getting caught up in too many tangles, and I expect we'll see more of the same from just very, very consistent driving. Will put pressure on James Selhani here. You can see already he's started to close that gap up, and you see he's not throwing around too much, looks to the outside just to improve his line through the corner. Selhani stays in to defend. Josh Benno will have the pace. Now can he set up a run up and over the hill as we go through the boot section? Honestly, one of the favourites here at Watkins Glen. I can't believe as Benno sends it up the inside, perfectly set up.
He licked that stamp and send it. If you can keep it on the track, my friend, exactly. Hey, there are track limits, Joshua.
There are. I suspect he might get away without a slowdown there, but we'll see how his driving turns out from here.
God, if that was Formula 1, mate, they're in the radio going, hey, off the track, on the track, on the track. Then again, you have about $30-40 million at stake. A little bit more friendly here on MC Motorsport channel.
10-second time penalty for car number 679 for that earlier contact. So that is for car 679. Where they're hiding, Charlie Milliken. 10-second penalty for his contact with Bradley Minshall. So that probably would have been a little more significant had it not been for the redress. But that's what the stewards have sent through for that one.
Charlie in P26 as well too, as that battle that James wants to come back at the fact that Joshua just got past him. He has an opportunity to slipstream to get that done. That's one of the closest battles you see on your screen. Actually a bit further back, it's some fantastic battles down into the midfield, my friend.
Here tonight, isn't it? Yeah. Chris Lashbrook and Aaron Gilbert, they've been going at it for a little while. Aaron shot up right on the tail, and you can see just at the front of the screen, Nick Polly and James Bunker are starting to pull away a little bit from this battle pack. Look at that move from Gilbert. Barely squeezing between the two cars. They come into the bus stop. The pace these cars carry through this section of the track is frankly terrifying. It's not something that I've managed to pull off anywhere near as smoothly as we're seeing here tonight. And certainly catching almost a little bit of air over some of those ripple strips on the way into that bus stop gives you an idea of just how hard these drivers are pushing, despite this being an endurance race. We're not even a third of the way into it. Haven't even made it through our first half hour just yet. So still plenty of racing to go, and yet these drivers racing as if it is our regular sprint opener for the evening.
Well, if Gap Car, if opportunity, you got to take it as well too, as safely as you possibly can, knowing that they have a little bit more time to sleep there. Joshua getting past Matt as well too, further in the background, but yeah, you got to do that one, and that's what these drivers are tuned to. A lot of these drivers do contribute to those iRacing special events, endurance races as well too, so they should be very much aware of patience is key. They don't have certain classes to overtake, so at this point it's just man versus machine versus different manufacturer. Of course, they have their advantages and disadvantages, but at this point, you're going to see the old green machine paddling out there with the red and white there, orange and white there of Darren, and you have to say Darren Dahara just didn't give up too much of a fight there. He says, okay, it's in Durant Spain, it's got away. He's like, I like my Vegemite sandwiches, they're right behind me right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, Daniel Harrod just not up to the pace of McPolly right now, and he's right at the moment. He's really squished in there, isn't he? I'd be getting out of that one because James Bunker wants to stay all of that. That is a very, very bold line to look up the inside there. Again, Bunker, just a little bit of a rub over the ripple strip there. I don't think he made contact, but that's allowed Mick Polly to just extend a little. And Bunker's been caught up now behind Daniel Harrod, so he's going to have to really work if he wants to stay with Polly. Polly's starting to pull away just behind. And we've got this group still at it. Simon Caplet right in the middle of it. You've got Aaron Gilbert, Chris Lashbrook, Aaron Schotter ahead of him. And then behind is Josh Marsh from Tulip Racing looking to make a move if he can as well.
I think Dylan Thomas went off the track somewhere as well too, back in the 31st place. He's back into the field there, but I wouldn't worry about too much about that one. Dylan was running in the outhouse at the moment. He's just gone for a little driver relief break, but he's okay. He's back on track.
Looks as though, I'm wondering, I'm just looking back through our list. Looks like he's actually been back into the pit lane after we saw him come together with who was it? I remember was it Matt Bakir? He had that moment at pit entry. He's gone back in a second time, so whether he's, I don't know, forgotten to get something done there, it's an interesting one.
Darren is on the back there of Mick Polly there for the Southern Cross Racing team. That's a nice battle brewing from P12. As you can see in the pictures, the Vegemite sandwich is ready to snack on the Southern Cross Racing driver. He's got some pace at the moment there, hasn't he, for the Ford machine? And let's see if we can get the job done. No, it's tuck in.
Harrod from Antic Motorsports just barely holding off Bunker's privateer Vegemite.
Yeah.
I reckon Bunker's going to start getting frustrated soon because he's carrying a lot more pace generally than Harrod has been. That said, the Antic Motorsports team are not known for being slouches themselves. You can see Harrod driving very, very defensively to try and hold Bunker behind in 14th place.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you? He's up 19 places. I mean, you want to hold that off as much as you can, isn't it? 217. Ford machine's doing a fantastic job. He doesn't want to make it 18. He's like, I like 19. It's an odd number.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Wasn't there a lotto ad that went something like that? Anyway, Chris's marketing doesn't work. Simon Caplet also trying desperately to hold on to 18th spot. Josh Marsh in 19th, up 7 places right now. Looking to go around the outside. Is he going to get it done here? Caplet just can't get the pace. Slots back into the racing line, gives up the position to Josh Marsh, and now James Lawrence will be right behind him as well in that Antic Motorsports McLaren. Simon Caplet just feeling the pressure here from driver after driver, and unfortunately not what he'd like to have at this stage of the race. I'm sure prefer a bit of clear air. Speaking of clear air, Reece Wakefield go back up front. Cool, calm, collected as always. Starting to extend his lead, almost 2.5 seconds now back to Jeremy Washington. And then Josh Benno a further 2 seconds behind that. That is in fact his teammate just behind him, Daniel Poulton, who is all the way back in 29th place right now. That's a lot of work to do for Danny P to get back into this race, isn't it, Biggles?
It is a lot of work, but he's got time on his side. He's running in P29 at the moment. He's got an hour and change, so plenty of time as Matty goes back in pit road as well too, after actually a bit of a collision, I think, to the Alpine Pro Racing entry. He can't quite get it done, but James might get it done up the inside there of Harold. And I think that might be job done. That one's going to bring Aaron Gilbert into play as well in the background there. More so than ever, Aaron's going to seize the opportunity to go 2-for-1 specials on the Vegemite sale up the road, and can actually get it done.
Still on the inside though. Can he get back in front? I'm surprised Gilbert didn't make it through there. Just didn't quite get the drive out of the corner. He's going to have another crack at it here, though, on the exit, I'm sure. Harrod's going to have to up his defensive game even further. Tell you what, Mustangs everywhere we look here tonight, Beagles. I don't know what it is about mid-pack, but they just seem to be swarming to it like flies.
Yeah, well, if you're in the outback of Australia, it would be, but we're upstate New York, my friend. There's only a bit of snow and grizzly bears. You might be pouncing at you on the track there, or Barney waving a flag. Not a black flag, hopefully.
Danny Harrod continues to just battle it out here. He's not letting go of Aaron Gilbert now that Gilbert's through, though, is he? Just sliding right in behind again. He's got Chris Lashbrook from ADHD Racing and the Mustang behind him. And the three Mustangs in almost perfect symphony, making their way down to the bus stop here. I don't like the look of side by side. Aaron Gilbert just takes that inside line, makes sure he hangs on to his position. But Harrod just, yeah, he's losing a few places, but he's not giving him up easily, which is good to see.
He might have a plan up his sleeve there for the Team Jigs shifters. Because, you know, maybe he loves football, meat pies, kangaroos, and Holden cars. I don't know. But he might love the Australian spirit. If you, I mean, the young ones out there might not know that song, but of course it's classic Australian. But does he love Dara, Chris Azar, and Josh Marshall a bit further down the road as well, too, as much as he loves his kangaroos, meat pies, and Holden cars.
Let's check up further up the field. Mitch Curry has latched onto the back of Nathan Bowman now. So the boss man himself with that Mustang. Another Mustang. Honestly, we've got to start looking at something else here tonight, because I've had another Mustang going at it. Oh, look, let's not go too deep into the demise of Holden in the country over the last couple of decades, shall we? It's going to be a long night otherwise.
We're bringing back Holdens and meat pies and kangaroos as well. So where's the kangaroo? No, you get no kangaroo on the Watkins Glen track at the moment. Reese Wakefield, we're the first one to discover a kangaroo. All out in front at the moment with the 969 machine up one place, P1. Down the road there, Jeremy Washington just settling in there for the P1 machine in P2. 3 seconds change down the road there. Joshy in P3. Already started actually. 2 seconds down the road from them. But all the action is on your pitches at the moment. We're looking around P7.
Mitch Curry continues. You can see the amount of lap traffic that both these drivers had to fight through there. Already half an hour in, with the number of incidents we've had, quite a few drivers falling back. Dylan Thomas, the first of those lap drivers at the moment. A 20-second time penalty for car number 2 for that lap 1 contact. So the stewards taking their time to go back and have a look at that one. That's Chris Blakely.
Here comes Mitch Curry. Yeah.
Second penalty. Yeah, Mitch Curry just slowly but surely pulling tenths, even hundredths out per corner. Just very, very calmly making his way towards that rear bumper of Nathan Bowman. He'll be looking for P6.
Oh, he got pit stops for the top 3. Reese in, Jeremy in, Joshua in. Let's see whether or not the boss man, Mitch Curry says, I'm going to join the party at the moment here. He's in a Ford, so don't blow it up there, Mitch. But he should be okay. You know, I don't can't believe the boss man going to be on it. Ford.
Backwards even. Aaron Schotter now on the back of Chris Lashbrook. So he's been making his way up through the field as well. Made that early pit stop. And indeed, when you look at some of the drivers that took the early pit stop, Ryan Palmer, actually the first of the drivers that did take that very, very early one under safety car. He finds himself up into P4 right now.
May very much be
the question
P1.
will be, where does that next pit stop play out for him, and where does he end up in the next little?
Ryan is, I can't quite see where he is in the track at the moment, but
just coming up to the bus stop at the moment. Mick Polly right on his tail. Both of those drivers having made their first pit stop. James Bunker not too far back either. So, look, a long way to go, and probably another couple of pit stops yet, I would imagine. But it might pay off for some of these drivers. When you take a look now, Reese Wakefield finds himself back in 15th after taking that pit stop. So he's got a long way to go to get back to the front of the field. He'll be desperately praying that there is not another safety car, because he needs these drivers to have to run for as long as possible in this race and force a pit stop under race conditions for him to really catch back up to the front of this field. Right now, James Delhani, though, enjoying his time with some clean air as Nathan
Norman's in. Yep.
No, I think he's just...
Is it Norman or Nathan? I'm saying Nathan.
It is Nathan.
It's Nathan.
I know that he's done a bit of renaming.
And James is in, Carl's in. Okay, thank you. Yep, we got that one.
So Nathan Bowman just having a couple of connection issues there, it would seem. We'll see if we can catch up a bit later, but unfortunately...
Yeah, not a good time going to pit road. Maybe going to pit road, it might be okay to sort that technical issue out there. It'll appear back in pit road. But James and Kyle went in. Ryan Palmer now is the lead driver that has been in pit road, my friend, as well as Nick Polly. So they went down into pit lane and they visited that earlier days, but we shall see how that pans out. But they didn't. That was on lap 1. That counted as that pit stop under the caution there. So how much do they have extra on that one? You know, they probably went for a top up there. They said, okay, give me gasolina. I love gasolina. Let's see how far I can go with my gasolina.
You know that song lyrics tonight, and I love it, Biggles. What I'm here for, mate, is a little bit of karaoke as we go.
Papa don't gasolina, no. But Mick Polly's on the tailpipe of him right now. And Mick says, I got all the gasoline I have right now in the green and gold Porsche, the 911, running the 911 numbers. And Nick Polly of the Southern Pride Racing entry says, I want it. If he doesn't get it done, you want more Aussie, my friend? Vegemite sandwich waiting for you in James and Pin 3.
For move on the outside, not getting it done there. Ryan Palmer maintains his pace and sticks with the number 1 spot for now. Nick Polly's going to have to find another way to get it done, but he's certainly showing his intention here, and Palmer will be feeling the pressure. Just keep your eye on those brake lights as we follow him around here, and just see how many adjustments Palmer might be making mid-corner. At the moment, he seems to be managing the pressure all right, but you'll often see as the drivers get under pressure, they'll just overcook the corners a little, and you'll see just little taps of the brake to just adjust the car balance on the way through the corner.
No chicken footing here, mate.
There it is.
There's no chicken footing in the Aussie League.
Little taps at that brake to stabilise the Mustang. And Ryan Palmer right now losing time down the straight. Nick Polly in the slipstream as we come down to turn 1. He's not going to have a move on here, but it's what he can set up here for the bus stop.
He's got to get it done because James is on his tailpipe. And it must feel like you're literally Oscar right now saying, get past Max Verstappen, because Lando Norris is on your tailpipe. That's the way I would be calling my engineering to Mick right now.
Chris Lashbrook just overcooking those rears. Big moment for him. Just a little nudge into the barrier. Manages to pull it up. But that's going to cost him a few spots further back.
And that's a Watkins
catching us up.
Yeah, that's a Watkins Glen brisket, my friend, right there.
A brisket.
Brisket for the brisket.
James Bunker has caught up while Palmer and Polly have been battling it out. James Bunker has just been chipping away, and now he joins the fight for first position. So these three in amongst it. Aaron Gilbert, watch him start to just chow down on that gap. That 2.7 right now. Keep an eye on the next couple of laps, because I reckon you'll see Gilbert start to close in as well. Ryan Palmer is certainly quick, but he's getting caught up in the battle here a bit. He'll be thankful,
James.
though, for Bunker.
Yeah, Bunker's got to put pressure on these drivers at the moment, because he knows that Aaron is down the road. Azza is going to put some pressure on. 2.3 in change. Ryan Palmer has that lead there. Says that every time Mick gets close there, Mick, mate, says to go to Ryan, mate, I'll give you a challenge, I'll run for your money. But every time he does, it actually brings James Bunker into play. I think James, the Vegemite sandwich machine, will be looking toasty for this one.
Yeah, something you've got to be really, really aware of as you start to close in. The concept of dirty air is a really hard one to wrap yourself around when nobody's not doing this. But even when you're experienced like these races, you get in such a rhythm as you start to reel people in, but then you get into that wash off the rear spoiler, and all of a sudden, your braking takes a bit longer. You don't have the turn in that you're expecting, and it really does impact on your lines as you're trying to make that pass. So if you're not hyper aware of it, you do find yourself, you saw it from Polly there in the last lap, getting really, really close to Palmer, and then through some of those corners just ending up a little bit wide on the exit or a little bit late on the brakes. And it's something you've got to be so switched on to all the time.
He's got to get it done. There's traffic up the road as well, but he has to find a way past because he knows that James is on his tailpipe right now. They have a 2.5 second gap now to Aaron down the road. So will this traffic come into play? I'd say so. Will they get out of the way? I don't know so. But either way, pictures are going to show you so. What will be the situational? Oh, almost contact as well too between James and Nick.
Palmer really loving this right now. It's giving him the opportunity to just not look in the rear view, let those two battle it out, and just concentrate on the road ahead. And you can see that gap starting to open up now. Back to Nick Polly. It was down to a couple of tenths. It's out to over half a second. And Ryan Palmer, if he can just keep his head on straight, should be able to hang on to this. But here comes Polly in the slipstream as they make their way down the front straight. Closes it right back up again. James Bunker coming with him. Aaron Gilbert, he's chewed another 3 tenths off that gap as well. So with every lap that goes past, he is getting closer and closer to this front three.
That's what he wants to do.
Front four very, very soon.
I think so as well. And it will start frustrating these drivers as well too, especially the likes of James and especially like the Nick and Ryan's just have to do Ryan's thing. You're going to get braking into the heel and toe, of course, and they'll get that job done. But I think the problem is he's the predator, my friend. He's the prey, sorry, and the predators are behind him, Nick and James.
It's going to be really interesting. I reckon there's a real opportunity here for James Bunker to actually make his way past Ryan Palmer as well if Nick Polly makes the move. Because if Polly does get the move done, it's going to be because Palmer's left the door open just a little too much. And if Bunker can stay this tight on the back of Polly's Porsche, then he's going to be able to squeeze through that same gap. So he doesn't want to lose any of this opportunity.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I've lived in New York, my friend, and I wouldn't leave my door open any day of the week, so don't leave it open. Especially if you're up here. Upstate New York is actually a really lovely place as well, too. I've visited many cities and friends' houses and stuff like that up upstate New York, but you still got to close your door. If you don't close your door, you'll get burgled. And does Ryan Palmer or Nick want to get that burgle from James Bunker down the road there. In fact, Aaron, down a 2 second gap on that one, too. He's catching him.
Flashing the lights to make sure that lapped Porsche up ahead knows that there he does indeed moves over. Just trying to catch who that is that they're passing there.
Maybe Dylan or Matt? Either way, they will be a lap down.
So yeah, probably Matt McKeer, I would think. Certainly not Lockie Perkins in the pits at the moment. Chris Lashbrook has just had another crash. The poor bloke is having a really rough time of it back there in P30. So
Chris, I said don't use my setup, mate. It was a joke. Because I can't drive, mate.
Nathan Bowman has reconnected. Yeah. So that's good news for him. He'll be back in this. Got a long way to go, but won't get any points if he doesn't actually see the checkered flag. So good to see him back in amongst it. A little bit further back from this now, you've got Josh Marsh and James Lawrence locked in to the battle for fifth. And Lawrence, the Antic Motorsports driver, just trying to find a way to get past the Chilled Racing Porsche and try and again catch up to that front four and make a battle of it.
Well, that's the beauty of endurance races is that you can make a battle of it later on. 45 minutes to go. So they think it's strategy as well. Too, Jared, remember they maybe doing a bit of tyre conservation. They may be doing a little bit of fuel conservation. They know that pit stops are crucial. They know that there are places that they can slot in here. The engineers might be going, where's all the track bunched up? Where are they? Where can I come out and clean air? Where can I put in some banker laps? There's a lot of play here. And they are if you think the long game, you're thinking the win game.
So we see Ian Ward now looking to go around the outside of Damien Harron. Can't quite get done, but he's been on the tail of that Mustang for quite some time. Ward goes wide, Harron stays in to keep that corner closed off to him. Can he get the drive out of the turn here? That's Chris Bleakley in the background, who is a lap down, so won't factor into Ward's decision making other than just being aware of his position. But Ian Ward, if I'm not mistaken, still driving on a controller these days. I don't believe he's all of a sudden got himself a racing rig, so...
But there is a challenge for the lead as well, too, my friend, as Nick was showing his colours. The green green and yellow, sorry, the green gold. Showing his Southern Cross stripes at the moment down the back of the ADHD racing entry of Ryan. But didn't quite get it done just yet. But I think the 911 there of old Mick is getting agitated because more traffic's coming out the road too.
Yeah, it certainly is. Right now, we were talking to Aaron Gilbert to close that gap down. He's got that down to 1.9 from the 2.7 it was just a couple laps ago. So again, slowly but surely, starting to reel it in. The question will be, how many pit stops will these guys have to make across the course of an hour and a half? Generally speaking, of course, Biggles, I don't want to assume too much, but you usually get, I believe it's about an hour out of a full GT3 fuel tank. There's nothing restricting the amount of fuel that these drivers can put in. The only question will be what the starting fuel load actually was in the fixed setup that they are using. So maybe 2 pit stops required. Certainly I would think for the drivers that did make the stop under that first safety car on lap 1, I'd have to wonder if they are going to have to make just a splash and dash towards the end, as we see Henry King in the Team Jig Shifters Lamborghini make the move up the inside of Josh Harris. That's been coming for a little while back here in the battle for ninth. Now Harris, can he respond? Because he has, look out, Reese Wakefield right behind him. Post-race investigation to come for the incident between car number 188 and number 53. That is, of course, the early incident with Nathan Bowman and James Talhani. So a little way back in our race, and that'll be picked up by the stewards afterwards for review as we carry on through this mini enduro. Now take a look back up front, because that front three closer than ever now. Palmer flashing the lights frantically to ask for some room as Bradley Minshew barely gets out of the way before the corner entry. Palmer, Polly and Bunker all steaming through at absolute full noise, and I don't know, almost a touch there from Bunker as he goes very deep under brakes behind Polly's Porsche. Look, I don't know that these front three are going to be able to make it to the end without some kind of a stop. The question is how much fuel they need.
You got to remember, Reese boxed on lap 17. He's currently running in the 11th place at the moment, in big traffic at the moment. Josh Harris and Henry King up the road there, which will be frustrating him.
He's going in. So Bunker into the pits. He's out of it.
Yep.
So this battle will continue. Now, question is, does he need the fuel, or is that a strategic play to just stop from being caught up in amongst all of that?
Good question.
Keep an eye on the bottom of the screen, folks. Watch how long Bunker is in the pit for. His first stop under the pit stop, under the safety car rather, was just under 24 seconds in the box. So he's in his pit box now. Let's see how long he actually spends.
And Reese going for it. Reese is going for it up the inside there of Patrick, side by side through there. He's getting he doesn't want to be compromised anymore in this race. He realizes the pit stops are occurring for the front runners, and he's realizing at this point that it's an opportunity.
Josh Harris, the contact, they're side by side through the bus stop. Harris comes out in front. Reese Wakefield backs out of it at the last minute. Harris giving absolutely no extra room there, making Reese Wakefield work for every centimetre of track that he's looking for. Wakefield lines him up to have another go at it. We'll take a look from on board with Reese Wakefield.
He has to. I mean, if you're Josh Harris, you have to hold him up as much as possible, because Josh has not boxed yet. Well, he did box on lap 1, but we know that Josh Bobbitt does not have enough to go to the end. And the more he can hold Reese up, the more he can help his situation in this race.
Wakefield looking so focused right now. Like, I'm not seeing...
Yeah, he doesn't even know the big, python snake that's crawling on his shoulder right now. That's not talking about that.
Not even seeing that. As he looks around the outside of Harris, just takes another bite at it. Not quite there this time, but again, a good run out of the corner. See if he's got the pace here. Not going to be able to get up the inside, but you'll have to think that Wakefield's going to set Harris up for a turn 1, maybe through the S's, or maybe even just setting up for another run at the bus stop.
I think he's thinking about another Watkins Glen trophy on his cabinet there in the picture-in-picture. You can see. Will he get that one?
Why not try? Down into turn one they come again. 50 minutes gone of our hour and a half of racing here at Watkins Glen tonight in the Domains2U GT3 Championship. This is round 4 with MC Motorsport, the halfway point of this season. And the battles continue. Reece Wakefield, our current championship leader, very, very nicely positioned right now. Jeremy Washington, last season's winner, back in P13, so not too far behind at all. Out in front, a whole different battle going on. We'll check back in with that in a moment. But we'll keep our eyes for now on Reece Wakefield as he desperately searches for a way to continue his move back up through the pack. That pit on lap 17 took him all the way back into about 20th position from memory. Finds himself back up into P10 already, so he is making moves to try and get back to the front. The question really on everyone's mind right now, or at least on ours, Biggles, is just when we start to see more pit stops from the original, probably 10, 12 cars that made their stops under the safety car on lap 1. They're going to have to come in.
Yeah. I mean, it's Reece Wakefield, the Brisbane driver, thinking if everybody else to come in right now, he has the lead. And is he biding his time patiently, knowing that Josh Harris, that may be holding him up at the moment with the ADHD racing entry, he's knowing, okay, but he's probably thinking long term, what is my gap to the leaders? What is their pit stops going to cost them? And how can I come out ahead of them? And if he feels at this point that Josh is holding him up enough, he may potentially lose that position as Nick has got past Ryan Palmer for the lead of this race as well. He's got to be thinking all that in his pictures.
That's got to be an off track at least, or probably not a slowdown for Polly. He drops back in. And Ryan Palmer somehow maintains position 1. I tell you what, it can't be long before Polly actually does make the move here. And again, Palmer goes defensive up the inside towards the bus stop. Moves across Polly. A big dive up to the inside. Is he going to throw it up there? Doesn't quite have the position. This is dangerous, Biggles. This is really dangerous. The car's being thrown around like that. There's a real chance of contact. And both drivers will be very, very careful not to take each other out.
The more the drivers battle, the more you bet your odds basically on Lotto or Keno or anything like that. There's a good chance that the more the battle, the more the potential of an accident that's going to occur at that point. But don't let these drivers know. Let them go for it too for now. Reece Wakefield still held up there by Josh Harris. He may be applying the pressure right now. He's going for it.
Run up the inside. There it is. Wakefield gets it done. Finally. Pushing and pushing now.
But I tell you what, Jared, that's good patience from Reece. That's a sign of a true champion. He knows to wait for the right moment to attack and the right moment to get the overtake done, because he realizes there's 36 minutes in this race and he's sitting in the golden seat at the moment because he's taking that pit stop back on lap 17.
Absolutely. So that's all it is at this point. Just time and patience and waiting to see when the right moment to strike is. Now, keep your eye on Henry King up ahead as he looks to make his move past Simon Kaplan, who comes into the pits. So
Josh.
Now, it'll be Wakefield and King as we make our way down the pit straight once again. Yeah, Josh Harris going in for his fuel up. Meanwhile, we'll take a look back. Where was it that we were looking to see? Pit stop number 2 for James Bunker. 24 seconds in the pits, so it looked pretty comparable sort of time in the pits as his first stop. That's interesting. Most of that may have just been tyres. It has slowed that down a bit for him.
Running in 18th there, Josh 17th now. All by himself in the Vegemite entrance as Ryan Palmer and Nick Polly are still going for it too for now on the front there. We expect that the driver from Adelaide and up the road there, 7 positions game, will have to come back and pit road. He did spend 55 seconds on lap 1, but they can't stretch it to the end. I don't think it's going to be possible. I think Reece Wakefield at the moment has the net lead of this race once all pit stops are done and dusted, at least the first round of those.
It'll just be a question of this second pit stop and when Wakefield does that. He's pushing far too hard to think that he's on a fuel conservation strategy at this point. So he's definitely expecting another stop somewhere. The question is just how far further up the field he'll manage to get before he does decide to come in.
Well, he's 10 seconds away from the race leader at the moment, so he's in a good place. He's in a good place. Well, I mean, they have to box up the front, up the road.
That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, you know, a pit stop around here is going to cost you a ton of time, so he's looking good. He just needs to tiny his way past Henry King. I think he's going to wait for the right moment, and he will. He's not going to just throw his nose out there just too soon. He will bring it, and that's going to be easy pickings there for Reese Wakefield. I don't think too much for a fight there from Henry King. Job done. Reese Wakefield, P7.
Clean too. And he continues his run. Now we go back up front. Ryan Palmer and Mick Polly still going out of it. Mick Polly right on his tail, not sending him move this time around. Maybe just content to sit in behind and enjoy a little bit of fuel saving and try and make it up to the pits at this point. Because Aaron Gilbert, he's still closing that gap down. Mick Polly a little bit slow through the bus stop there, just getting a little more airborne than he perhaps intended to. And Aaron Gilbert now down to 1.3 off the back of Polly. Ryan Palmer continues to lead this race, but again, we'll probably need another pit. You'd have to think he's coming up to that pit stop soon. You know, if you're getting about an hour out of GT3 tank, they're only on lap number 1. It's got to be coming. The question is when Palmer's going for it.
Ryan spent about a minute and changed the pit road, so he topped it up big time. But even topping it up, you can't stretch it for a full lap race, a full lap distance of a race. So he knows that. He's just trying to eke it out. Maybe he's looking at his lap times. Last lap times he's doing 1:44.89. Those drivers that have boxed a little bit further back, talking about Reese Wakefield, he's doing 43.9s. So a little bit quicker, but not drastically quicker. At that point, you're dropping about 1.5 seconds a lap to a driver that down the road that potentially will overtake you in the pit road. That's when you go, well, okay, well, we need to do something in our strategy.
That's what I've got to be thinking at this point. It's only a mini endurance, but it is still endurance racing. It is about strategy. You can't just put the foot to the floor and expect to be there at the end. You're going to have to time these pit stops as close to perfection as you possibly can and really just play for the right safety car at the right time. Take a look at the background, though, as Josh Marsh comes under attack from James Lawrence in the MC Motorsport McLaren. They come down the pit stop. Lawrence a little bit earlier on the turn-in than the Porsche. A few sparked flyers, they just graze across the top of that ripple strip. And down we go through the outer loop. Marsh, look, it's not something that we've seen a lot of. We haven't seen Josh Marsh get a lot of time up in amongst the front few so far this season, but really holding his own at the moment, up 22 positions right now. Granted, some pit stops come into play with that, but for someone who started back in 26th, he's sitting pretty nicely up in P4 right now, because
you can't complain with 22 positions gain there from Josh Marsh. Absolutely. And he's got to be in his engineers there thinking at the moment. James Lawrence is behind me attacking. Reese Wakefield's not too far down the road there, lapping a bit quicker as well. But at the end of the day, you've got to be talking to the engineers going, what's our strategy right now? How are we comparing it out? Are we going to beat Ferrari in our strategy? Because Ferraris don't seem to get it right these days. You don't have to worry about it. He's not a Ferrari, he's a Porsche. But
get another
all
dig
these
in, mate. Get
elements, get another dig in. Yeah. Ferrari won't be inviting me there to their paddock pass anytime soon, will they?
I don't think I was expecting an invitation either anytime soon, Biggles, but you never know. You never know. Aaron Gilbert continues to reel in Mick Polly up ahead, but he's now got to watch for Josh Marsh, who is slowly but surely catching up to that Mustang in front. Really interesting to see this. I've got to wonder whether Gilbert is maybe conserving a little fuel, because we've seen him move through the field quite a bit quicker than this on previous laps, so maybe just biding his time a little. But this front five really starting to come together and be a bit more of a condensed battle group. To see Aaron.
Do you want me to use my cheat codes and find out how much gasoline they've used? But I wouldn't do that. That would, other drivers and teams are listening to the broadcast, they were sitting going, oh! Because it's just told us that they have X amount of fuel left. Okay, well, we'll use that to our advantage now. Not going to happen, gentlemen. I'm not spoiling the party.
That's right. There's Reese Wakefield in the background. You can see just starting to catch up, just over 4.5 seconds back from this group. And Mick Polly just struggling to really get anything done about Ryan Palmer out in front. Palmer's really holding his own defensively out in P1. The lap time's all fairly consistent. Aaron Gilbert, again, just shaving a little bit of time here and there off them. You can see Ryan Palmer passing a screen just now. Just solid in that Mustang out in front. Mick Polly's had a few attempts at getting past and hasn't managed to pull it off just yet. That pit entry, there you go, Josh Marshall.
Josh is in. Yep.
So that's about when we expected it, around about an hour into the fuel there after pitting on lap 1. This will be very interesting to see where they end up.
Yeah, once again, it's not something that you'd schedule to do in your pre-race brief that you would have when you're sitting down there with your headphones on, of course, and listen to your engineers and they're going, okay, well, we're planning on lapping on this, but of course our early safety cars throwing a spanner in the mix, so these drivers are going, I don't quite know what we're going to do right now, strategy.
That was an interesting one. Ryan Palmer, I don't want to call anything that's too contentious here, Biggles, but was that a move in response to Polly going to the inside then?
Well, I mean, you know, as a racing driver, of course, the stewards have been looking at that one.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, because if you're going to set up on a defensive line, you do it as soon as you get onto that straight. And look, maybe it was just timing, and unfortunately, maybe that's why Palmer ducked back across again. But that's running very, very close to the edge of an acceptable line from that driver out in the lead. And,
Chief Investigator Jared is on the case at the moment.
It's one of those things, right? You've got to be really careful, because there's a distinct difference between taking a defensive line and blocking. Now that line there, as Palmer comes into the pits,
yeah, they're following each other, my friend.
There you go.
Yep.
So Aaron Gilbert will now get some clear air.
And Reese Wakefield will be in P2.
He will, 4.7 seconds back. So Aaron Gilbert's going to have to put some work in here to stay out in front, but he's going to need another pit stop as well.
Who's going to win the Palmer shootout into the pit road?
Ryan Palmer's pit box is a lot further back, so he's into the pits first. We'll wait and see where they come out, and also how long they spend in the pits, right? That's the other question. Who's done the fuel calculations?
Sunny Woodcrafts. Yeah.
It's always the question. Ryan Palmer is out of his pit box.
And as a little later, Az is out too, so Brian does get him. Nick.
A very quick stop from Shotter though.
Mick Mate will go there. They're going to resume those positions as well too. So Ryan, Mick, and he will just slide it actually just behind Kyle. So Kyle Ridley
back into the top 10.
Yes, sir.
Top 10 even.
Oh, the Vegemite sandwich right behind him with James. He says, I got the speed, I got the tyres all warmed at the temperature, my friend. I'm not giving this position to you at all. You have to fight for it.
Look at the pace. Again, I know we said that it feels like just a few laps ago. It was probably half an hour ago, but the pace that these GT3s can carry through that bus stop is something else. Just don't even need to lift. Trust the aero to take you through there. And you can get it done at a rapid rate of
And Courtney says, finally, yeah, well, finally it's happened to him. He's got the place.
Out in front. So Reese Wakefield about to resume the lead
got the lead now. Yep.
The question is, does Reese have enough fuel to get to the end from here? 25 minutes to go.
Azar and Henry, all hail to the king, has pitted. So
some quick numbers here. Just assuming that I'm on the money to say that a GT3 can run for about an hour on a full fuel tank, right? And that's a big assumption. I recognise that. Big assumption. If Reese is coming on lap 17 at a minute 45 a lap, he's probably come in right on about 30 minutes into the race. So he's really tried to calculate this right down at the end of this run. It's all going to depend now. He's got a 21-second gap to Patrick Frame behind him. It's really going to depend on how much interference Patrick runs for his teammate out in front, or whether Patrick is trying to chase him down as well.
He could fuel save, I think. Reese could fuel save. Yeah, he'll have to short shift turn off the engine, perhaps when he's coasting at certain points. And that's what he wants. That's a 20-second gap. If you start seeing that dropping down, 2 or 3 seconds a lap, it's trouble.
The inside of Ridley.
Yep.
Through the bus stop, there's contact. Ridley gets pushed to the wall. Can he recover it? He's just managed to get it back on track without
Ridley.
incident. A huge moment for Kyle Ridley.
Look away,
awesome
Courtney.
Work to recover it.
Look away.
God, that was very close to seeing Ridley into the wall, but he's done a fantastic job to get it back on track. And unfortunately, it does set him back a few spots, back in the 13th, but better to be there.
Reese Wakefield's in the pit road. Well, questions answered on that situation there, Jared. He is not going to the end. Confirm.
Interesting
He's
one.
not going to the end.
That is an interesting one. So, how long is Wakefield going to spend in the pits right now? Patrick Frame's coming behind him. Mitch Curry now.
Was Mitch Curry go in? The man from MC Motorsports is in as well.
No, he's
not. He's out.
He's continuing through, as is most of the field. So let's see how long Wakefield spends in the pits. I wonder if those tyres are just finally giving up on him.
Well, that's a top 10 gone. That's a top 10 gone for those drivers, potentially. Yep.
Mitch Curry, he's only made one stop at about the same time. So Curry came in at the same time as Wakefield. So Wakefield's back into 11th. Does Curry have what it takes to go to the end? Does Washington just
Let me
behind
spy
him?
on Mitch Curry's gas tank gasoline and find out what you've got in the back of the tank there, Mitch.
So, just a little bit of a
I don't like Fords, Mitch, but you know what? Uncle Biggles will jump into your car and find out what you got behind that 89 machine, mate. Don't you worry about
Palmer
that.
and Aaron Gilbert going at it with the Mustangs here, as Palmer looks to extend his drive up through the rankings, starting in 16th, currently sitting in 6th. Right behind, though, the battle group.
Oh, wow. Reese Wakefield, Reese is gone! Off the track somewhere as well, too. The man that could potentially won this race has gone too hot.
He's managed to pull it up, though, without incident, except that those tyres are going to be a little bit cooked for the next few corners until he gets the temperatures back under control. But yeah, not what he would have been looking for, just pushing too hard on the new tyres, and that's brought him undone and finds himself back in 16th. So a lot of work to do, and he'll be hoping for a few pit stops to fall his way. Who knows, maybe
Reese Wakefield, while hosting the Bunning Snags here at upstate New York as well too, and introducing those Americans to Bunning Snags when you get it all fired up and all the cylinders and throw those snags in the barbie. Unfortunately, Reese down to P16, but don't count that many out there. He's a Brisbane-born Queenslander, and Queenslanders, my friend, as you are, we fight, mate. We fight. We're not over. 21 minutes to go.
I mean, that's a lot of work for Wakefield to do in the next 20 minutes. From P16, he's gonna have to really go, head down, bum up, see what he can get done. Further up, Aaron Gilbert still under pressure as they come onto the back straight, heading for the bus stop. Palmer takes a look at the inside, slots back in behind Gilbert's Mustang. Here they go through the bus stop, right behind them. Poley, Bunker, Lawrence and Marsh as well. So this group here in P5, there is a 10-second penalty. That will be for the contact with Kyle Ridley. So James Bunker, despite how well he's running, will have a 10-second time penalty at the end of this race, which right now is likely to drop him from P7 down to somewhere around P14, P15, I would think.
Yep, penthouse and the outer house, unfortunately, for Mr. James Bunker running a P7 currently at the moment. The other drivers should be aware of that. Josh Marsh, James, and Mick Polly. They should have to not fight him too much knowing that one, but then again, that penalty is served at the end of the race, isn't it? So he doesn't have to worry too much about getting on positions just yet.
No, right now, he's just going to need to... Mitch Curry's in. Curry is in, so that splash and dash...
Did not
is going to be required.
Dash enough, yeah. But it could be enough. It could be enough. That's the key, isn't it? Jeremy Washington now the new race leader for JW Racing entry. Number 1 on the machine. Number 1 in the race spot.
I I'm gonna call this a little early right now. 20 minutes to go. Aaron Gilbert is firming up as a potential race winner, as is Ryan Palmer. Both of these guys making their second pit stop.
As James gets past Joshua for P2. Huge battle for P2 and Joshua James show. That's not a law firm. That is the two drivers here in the MC Motorsports entrance going for it, and Joshua gets the job done.
And then, of course, James Bunker, Polly, James Lawrence, and Josh Marsh here battling it out.
Joshua went off track. That's the reason why that position was yielded. You know, check that out in the replay.
A little bit of slowdown, perhaps.
Yeah, I think it was a slowdown actually, to be confirmed.
So, taking a look at this again, Aaron Gilbert up in P4, along with Ryan Palmer. These guys both making their stops on lap 34 and 33 respectively. They might just have enough to get to the end. If we look at Jeremy Washington, Josh Beno and James Sahani, those guys aren't fuel saving already. They need to be. Because if, like Mitch Curry, they need to make another stop, then Gilbert and Palmer effectively race leaders. It's a big ask, but it could be done. It's just a question of how much Washington has in the tank, how much Beno's got left in, how much Sahani's got left in there. Courtney Klatt's asking if Kyle Ridley has any damage from that mess. I don't believe so. We didn't see him touch the wall. The tyres are probably not in best condition, but it won't be enough to cause him any issues. Right now, running in 10th position, he's got a little bit of room behind him. But a long way to try and catch up. 4.5 seconds off the back of the pack that we're looking at right now, led by Aaron Gilbert. Jeremy Washington probably doing those fuel numbers frantically out in front just to see if he can make it. Josh Marsh looking for the move around the outside through the S's. Can't quite get it done. Has to slot back in behind James Lawrence. Let's throw a blanket over the floor of these drivers as they come to the bus stop once again. And everyone just getting it into line, recognising how close they are to the end of this mini enduro. No one wants to do anything too drastic here, Nichols. Would like to make it to the end of one piece. Thank you very much.
Well, you've been throwing blankets over drivers. They're getting a little chilly. I thought it was heating up at the moment. I don't think it's
tyre blankets, mate. Tyre blankets.
Yeah. We'll keep them warm. We'll keep you entertained as well too on the Simple Racing Broadcasting Network, presenting the MC Motorsports. We're getting deeper into the championship race at the moment, and we're going back to Kyle. I'm going to try to keep an eye on what kind of speeds he does. He crosses the line, but of course the battle brewing up there, James and Josh, as you can see in the pictures as well too, is Charles's a little bit of a moment. He's heading the pit road, may have had an incident, my friend. So Charlie's dropped down.
Yeah, he has indeed had an issue with a bit of a crash further back there. So he'll be into the pits and hopefully getting back out on track to grip check and flag and make sure he does get the points for this round. Josh and James here, P8 and P9, absolutely going at it. Josh Marsh, you see dancing all over the track to try and make his way through. Let's go on board and take a look at just the pace of these GT3 cars, particularly as they get through the bus stop. We get through turn 1 and then we immediately go uphill into the S's. And Josh Marsh continues to look at the back of James Lawrence's McLaren. Just a couple of tenths separating him here on the way up and onto the back straight. Now let's see what sort of line he takes. Looks to the outside. James Lawrence just drifting across. Josh Marsh looks to the inside, comes back in behind. Taking the bus stop at just shy of 200k an hour on the entry, 190.
Got a good exit, yeah.
Very, very quick through there. Probably not Marsh's best, but again, he doesn't want to give up any of this track position. With just 15 minutes to go, it's not worth throwing it away for that one position just yet. He'll bide his time and wait for another opportunity. He's seen plenty already. James Lawrence, of course, looking further ahead to James Bunker. Not to be confused.
James and James show. Yeah,
the Vegemite entry there of James Bunker doing his best to chase down Mick Polly, and then further ahead, the two Mustangs, Aaron Gilbert and Ryan Palmer, still going at it. They're all counting down to the end of this race, and the question will be, can the front three of Washington, Beno and Salhani actually make it to the end on the fuel that they have? We'll jump on board in just a moment with one of those, but Josh Harris sending it up the underside of Simon Caplet, gathers another spot, goes wide. Caplet an opportunity to regather here, side by side. but Harris on the inside will retain that position. Continues on in P14, and Caplet will have to fight off Dan Mirko behind him now. He'll be looking to do the same. We're going to back up to James Bunker on the back of Nick Polly as they come to the end of the home straight. And James Bunker, he's been everywhere tonight. That Vegemite car, maybe it just stands out a bit to me with the bright yellow livery, but we've seen him getting involved in quite a bit tonight.
6 and 6 actually, going back to those James, 6 positions gained between those two drivers, 3 positions gained from Nick up the road there. But James wants to slap a couple of pieces of bread over to bring the Vegemite to the party at the moment for the 156 machine. McLaren, it's not papaya orange, but it's still very, very, very quick.
Absolutely is. The big movers though, Josh Marsh, you can see just battling it out with James Lyons in the background, up 17 positions. Ryan Palmer's up 11. Jeremy Washington, in fact, back where he started this race in P1, is the only one in the top 9 that hasn't actually moved further forward, only because he can't really, can he? He's just looking to hold on to his qualifying position.
He could overtake the safety car.
That's about it. I suppose.
Yeah.
Might land in with a small
a negative one.
deal with.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we're counting us down. We're within 15 minutes of the end here. These drivers, they're not going to be giving up on an extra position here or there, but Jeremy Washington out in front's got to be feeling fairly comfortable. Let's see if we can just jump on board with him. He makes his way down the home straight.
Can he go to the end? I can imagine him go to the end. 13 minutes and change to go. Joshy doing a fantastic job. James doing a fantastic job. Aaron. Biggest gainer, Ryan Palmer, P5, 11. And that's at least in the top 5. You're going to go to Josh Marsh in P9, gained 17 places. But at this point, it's the closest battles you can see on the screen. Arbrin, 2nd and 3rd. And 5th and 6th, 6th and 7th as well. And of course, Reese Wakefield is trying to get past Henry King, about P12.
Jeremy Washington doesn't look like he's taking it too easy on that car. It still looks like he's pushing right to the limiter.
He's doing an Oscar, mate. Just drive that wheels off that machine, my friend. Drive it to the Barney and get that checkered flag and show that Australians are on top.
To jump on board and see him fuel saving like crazy, but with Josh Bennett and James Salhani right behind him, you can see them coming through the same turn. Only 2 seconds back. I don't think he can afford to take it easy there at all.
Lucas says, evening all, Mick is doing a strong race. And unlucky, of course.
Yeah, Chris Bleakley.
Yeah.
Not a good one for him, unfortunately. But, such as the way that falls sometimes. It's a very rough night here at Watkins Glen. The Domains2U GT3 Championship, though, continues on, and James Salhani looking for an opportunity to try and reel in Josh Bennett, who just seems to have so much pace here tonight in that Porsche. He's kept his nose clean, most of all. For all of the incidents that we've had, I don't think we've seen Josh Bennett once involved in any of them. He has just been completely out of harm's way and finds himself in a very, very nice position. The only question is going to be, can he make it through the next 11 minutes plus or minus a lap with enough fuel on board to actually see the checkered flag? That's what they're up against right now. Further back, Ryan Palmer continues to hassle Aaron Gilbert. The 2 Mustangs, plenty of fuel on board. You'd have to think Biggles, given how hard they're pushing. Laps 34 and 33 with their pit stop.
Oh, Mustang, this is Ghost Rider 016. Can he get an overtaking opportunity? Not quite yet, but the pressure is mounting.
Through.
Ryan is through, so he does permission to bite the tower. Permission granted. He has beaten Aaron Gilbert, and he is up into 12 positions gained into P4 for number 16.
Can't be upset about that so far. Of course, not done yet. He's still going to now hold off Aaron Gilbert for another 10 minutes plus whatever we get in terms of a final lap. That's the fun thing about timed races, isn't it? You never quite know when you're going to be on that final lap until the white flag drops.
I gave Ryan $10. He told me earlier what it was going to be, but I won't spoil the surprise.
Just get in the ear of the race director.
Yeah.
Away for you.
Okay, buy me a Vegemite sandwich, mate. He's happy.
Stolen, of course, out of the boot of James Bunker's McLaren in the Vegemite spread livery, I'm sure.
Hey, he's got stacked. Yeah, he's throwing Vegemite sandwiches out to all these Yankee Doodle Doos here up in Northern America, here in the great state of New York City, New York State actually. And he's going, okay, taste a bite of Vegemite, my friend.
Reese Wakefield, he's been pushing hard, but has not recovered from having to make that extra pit stop. Back up into P12, but at this point, you've got to think very, very unlikely that he's going to improve his position much beyond where he is now. Even if those front three do have to come in, Wakefield's barely going to finish and start in the top 9. It'll be very interesting to see what that means for the points at the end of this race. As he makes his way past that shot, has moved very, very wide there. Perhaps just had enough of the pressure. Henry King takes a look up the inside as well as they come to the bus stop. Not quite there to make the move at this point. But Josh Beno and James Silhani continue to battle out in front. And then, of course, further back, you've got Ryan Palmer heading up this little battle pack of Aaron Gilbert, Nick Polly, James Bunker, and James Lawrence. So, still too close to call. I've got to think that Jeremy Washington's got the fuel for this. And by this point, if he's not considering that run to the pits, we haven't seen Beno or Silhani even like as well. Somehow they've managed to pull this off, I reckon, because.
Well, James is applying the pressure at the moment on Josh, so that's going to be the key between those two drivers. There's only one lap difference, at least the pit stops between them. So it could be very much a battle for P2 in your pictures, because further down the field, that's a huge battle. P4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I can count. I did my last. So Josh Marsh on pit road on P9. He's going to drop like a 20-25 US stock market.
Still a little way to go. I'm just doing some quick numbers here to see if I can figure out just what the points might look like. Because bearing in mind with a single race, this is a double points round. So we'll perhaps make a significant difference.
Joshua did get past James as well too. So the battle for P2 has resumed. The call up there for the 166 machine says number 1 in the lead. 2 seconds is your target. Let's go racing. 7 minutes remaining.
Down to this for Jeremy Washington down in front, but the battle really is right here. Aaron Gilbert, you can see, coming under all sorts of pressure, and again I'm wondering, the fuel state, where are we at? He's got to have plenty on board because he's made a stop at around the same sort of times as these drivers, so just a little off the pace. Maybe his tyres have just had enough after battling with Palmer for so many laps. Nick Polly has managed to close that gap right up. Alternatively, maybe Polly's getting a bit of bump drafting from Bunker and Lawrence to help close the gap, because all of these drivers, as we see, Bunker sends it in a big way. Ends up well off the racing line. Very, very lucky not to make contact there. And he's going to go all the way to the back of this battle pack. That was an ambitious move from the privateer, now in P8.
P8, exactly. It's positions on the top 10. That's what it's all about. James and Josh are going out again. Joshua and James, not a law firm. And we have had breaking news, of course. There's a $10,000 offered, a $10,000 prize offered that the government has issued for return of Ned Kelly's helmet. Apparently, has been smuggled in the United States of America. So we wouldn't want anything to happen. And that one's a new era of outlaws and doombas. Yeah. So come on, boys. Don't let Ned Kelly. I don't know where I'm going that one. Forget it.
I don't know where I'm going, but at some point, Ned Kelly's helmet's like drop it. Big Polly going back to the outside. Aaron Gilbert's having to go very, very defensive here. He's under a lot of pressure. Well off the pace. The tyres, perhaps, not getting changed at last stop, and maybe he's finding that he's actually at the limits of them right now. It's very, very odd, considering how hard he's been battling with Palmer for so long, that he's dropped right off the pace, and now facing challenges from Polly and Lawrence behind him. Still plenty of racing here to go. The real story though, Jeremy Washington out in front, looking very, very comfortable. We are almost 46 laps in here, only 5 minutes left to go in this 1.5 hour endurance of Watkins Glen. The Domains2U GT3 Championship here with MC Motorsport continues for just a little while longer. Taking a look at some of the other standings that you might be interested in, of course, Courtney Platt's here for Kyle Ridley back in P9. He's looking pretty comfortable right now, however he is facing a bit of a moment with Reece Wakefield on his tail.
James making another run for P2 as well, too, on Joshua. He's trying his absolute best. Ryan Palmer, 11 seconds to change down the road in that one. You get past some lap traffic as well. Now, the gap still is solid 3.4 seconds up the road for Washington. So he's probably leveling. And this battle between Josh and James, so the double J's, side by side.
Josh Benno. Has that been a slowdown for Benno or something similar? Because he's giving that up far too easily to Salhani. I think it must be. Benno's copped a slowdown. And that now puts him almost a second off the back of Salhani.
Reece Wakefield as well too. Carl and Reece. Reece on damage limitation here. On the pit stop shows here. Might not panned out there for the 969 machine, but at the moment he has Kyle Ridley. Look away there, Courtney. Don't look away. Look at your pitches. Battling it out of Reece Wakefield.
Wakefield getting very, very loose through the bus stop, manages to get it under control and takes P9. Ridley, of course, an opportunity to hang with him and just continue that run. Still another second and a half or so back to Aaron Schotter, so Ridley should be feeling reasonably comfortable with that if he can just stick with Reece Wakefield. He'll sort out a top 10 finish, which is not a bad way to end this hour and a half.
Don't you cry tonight, Courtney. No. Don't you cry tonight. It's not over just yet.
It's not a bad
Absolutely, especially when you got Reece Wakefield getting past you, and that's large as well too. I'll tell you what, Kyle put up a massive fight. It ain't over yet until when he waves that flag at the end of this race. About 2 minutes of change to go. Jeremy Washington in the lead there, but the battle for P4 still remains hot and heavy, my friend here, upstate New York.
Gilbert's almost found his pace again. I don't know whether Palmer's had an issue in the moment that we looked away, but all of a sudden Gilbert's closed it right back up. So maybe those tyres just a little overheated and he's finally allowed them to come back into temperature. He's brought Polly and Lawrence with him. James Bunker still hasn't quite recovered from that moment he had earlier. Ryan Palmer, look, at this point in time, if he can just hang in there for another 2 or 3 laps, that'll be a very, very solid finish for him. Chris Bleakley has just had another issue by the look of things, although maybe just letting traffic through on the exit of pit lane. So he's not had a good run tonight, Lucas Baker pointing it out earlier. Bleakley had a crash a few laps back that's effectively taken him out of the running for any of the major...
Yeah, Chris is down there cracking the Enigma code there in Bleakley Park. Is that too soon, Chris? No, it's fine. You're good, my friend. He's cracking the code here of Watkins Glen. Maybe. Yeah, there we go.
That is a very, very rough night for Chris Bleakley.
I'm sorry, Chris. Yeah, it's one of those races, mate. It happens. But hey, you know what? You got plenty more up your sleeve. Oh, 3 wide, 4 wide. Don't do it, gentlemen.
Take it easy there, Mr. Bunk. We've seen it happen once already. James Lawrence just having to defend a little. Take a look back in the pack here. This is Patrick Frame and Mitch Curry side by side as they swap positions once again. Curry looking to just improve his position a little further if he can, but Patrick Frame hanging in there after his late pit stop, forcing him out of the top 10. And checking with Jeremy Washington has just started another lap, so it won't be this lap.
Is the penultimate. No, I saw a white flag wave, but I don't think it's just yet.
No, I think it'll be next lap, perhaps at this stage.
Give Henry King a run at Aaron.
Yeah, we've not hit the hour and a half yet, so Jeremy Washington right now, 3.5 seconds almost to James Salhani. You'd have to think he's got maybe one more lap to run here, Biggles, and that will be all she wrote for this mini enduro of Watkins Glen.
They could catch him, could they? James and Josh Resho could not catch Jeremy Washington. So the Triple J's, that's right, not the radio station in the Australian network, it's the JJJs. 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. I think that may be the situation if Joshua can hold off Ryan Palmer, Aaron Gilbert, and Nick Polly. And forget about James Lawrence a little bit further on the field there as well too.
Hang on just a second. Josh Benno, is he out of fuel? Because all of a sudden,
Joshy.
Ryan Palmer is right there.
Yes, he is. Last lap, almost. Not the last lap yet.
Let's go on board and see what we can see. Very, very short shifting. Very short shifting.
Yeah,
from
he's
Josh
getting
Benno.
flashed too from Ryan Palmer. So is Ryan Palmer aware that he's out of gasolina?
This is not looking good for Josh Benno.
Yeah.
He's run a phenomenal race, but unfortunately,
papi.
he's about to give up a few
mucho
positions, I suspect.
problemo. Never trouble.
There it is, checkered flags. We didn't actually get the white flag. Checkered flag for Jeremy Washington.
It is, Jeremy.
Jeremy Washington takes the win. James Salhani in second. Now, can Josh Benno hang on and just barely get it all across the line for P3?
He should, Joshy.
Just barely makes it home in the end. What an awesome finish for Josh Benno as that group of cars comes across all at once. Here comes Reese Wakefield, P9, and Kyle Ridley rounds out the top 10. Josh Benno on fumes.
I did see that. Yeah, go ahead.
Somehow Jeremy Washington not having the same issues. I don't know if he was just fuel saving a little the whole way tonight. But it seems to
all
work
the
out
whole
for
to
him.
the president, my friend, of the United States of America, the man gets it done. Is we come in with a name called Washington into upstate New York, you are the El Presidente, and you got the job done. But I did see Barney waving that flag early in the pictures, but unfortunately live timing didn't quite reflect that, did it? But Jeremy Washington is well aware that he is the victor of this race.
A phenomenal drive. Just how on earth Washington's managed to make it to the end so comfortably on similar sort of fuel, you'd have to think, as Josh Benno stayed in the pits for almost an identical length of time when they both made their stop on lap 17. But Benno's just had to tow back to the pits because he's out of fuel. Jeremy Washington.
Oh, that's a penalty, Joshua. You can't bring your car home.
Here. In fact, let's bring him into the booth. Josh Benno, you've managed to survive it, mate. Congratulations on a P3, but I suspect it was just barely on fumes at the end there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was spitting over the line. Got very close on fuel. I miscalculated by one lap. I thought the race was going to go a lap less. Put a lap less in, and then only realised the last 3 laps, so I had to let James pass, and then I had to just cruise it home to the line.
Well, geez, we thought that you'd had a slowdown a little earlier when Salhani got past you. Was that part of it as well, or was it just that fuel in the end had caught up with you and you needed to back right off at that stage?
No, it was at that point that I realised that fuel was going to be an issue. I sort of realised the lap before, and then James is a lot quicker than me, and I thought he was going to get past me anyway, so I just let him through. But yeah, it was like last 3 laps where I had to was saving about a litre a lap.
Oh well, in that case, mate, congratulations on actually making it through to the end and getting across the line, because it was a very, very close thing, a solid result in the end, and certainly pretty good for your overall standings. So well done, and enjoy the P3, mate.
Yeah, thank you. It was really hard race. I'd like to thank FCR Sim Sports and all their sponsors for making this team possible. And really happy with the P3. Should help me in the championship a lot, especially being double points. Hopefully I made some ground on the leaders, and we'll go on to the next round.
Fingers crossed. Josh Benno, they're taking P3 tonight. We'll let him go and just limp it home to the pits, Biggles. Not the finish he would have been hoping for, I'm sure.
It's points, bud. Double points. So, you can't complain with that, my friend. Podium is podium. Bubbly stuff is bubbly stuff. So,
just confirming at the moment our point standings, because we should be getting a double points update. So bear with us while we just check in here, folks, on what's going on with the points for tonight's race. But I am hopeful that we'll be able to give you a bit of an idea of how that actually looks now. Maybe. That's something else. We've got no points no points there to share right now, but let's bring James Salhani into the booth. James, congratulations on a very, very solid drive tonight. P2 for you in the end. SLM Motorsport starting to make a bit of a name for itself here with the GT3s in the Domains2U Championship. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh yeah, mate, that was a hard race. That was really good. Missed an opportunity last week, but glad I could do something this week.
And look, we were trying to add up for a long time there, just your fuel numbers. We saw Josh Benno, of course, limping home on fuels. Just how tight were you in the end on fuel when you did cross the line? Because we were wondering whether yourself and Jeremy Washington were actually going to make it home.
Oh, I had 2.5 laps extra fuel.
Oh, easy.
Come on.
Easy. Making it look simple then. Okay, easy enough. Well, look, massive drive. It's only a mini enduro, of course. We've got the full 2 hours of Daytona coming later in the season. But if this is what we can expect from you then looking forward to getting a chance to chat to you again. Anyone you'd like to thank that's made tonight happen for you?
I'd just like to thank SLM Motorsports and Matt Keane and my teammate Kyle. Without them, I wouldn't be here.
There you go, Kyle Ridley picking up a P10 as well. It has been a good night for points for SLM Motorsport. Congratulations, James. Well done, and we'll let you go and celebrate, eh?
Thank you. Have a good one, boys.
James Salhani taking position number 2. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we've got Jeremy Washington with us now. Jeremy, do we have you there, or are you still getting yourself out of the car at the moment?
Hey, it's the Presidente. Oh.
It's the president.
Guys, I'm here. How you doing?
You're the president of the United States of America, Jeremy Washington. You're now the governor of New York.
Thank you. I thought it might have been mayor of Seattle, in Washington there, but no, I'll take that.
Made a huge drive tonight. I don't know how you managed to get that home on fuel. It's a question I've had to ask all of the top 3, because all of you pitting around lap 17, lap 18, and that was what made the difference. Was there any fuel saving going on there? Because we couldn't see any every time we checked in with you. You seemed to be pretty much foot to the floor right throughout tonight.
I'd spent most of the week practicing my lift and coast, and then the safety car made it pretty comfortable for me with the McLarens. So there was a little bit there at the end, just a few hundred meters here and there, but it was pretty comfortable in the end.
Well, there you go. Can't argue with that. We'll have to wait and see what that does to the overall point standings. But as it stands right now, a bit of double points this evening, so can't really be too upset with that overall. I would imagine, Jeremy. Your run for the championship. You got your eye on the number 1 again next season, or just wait and see what the second half brings?
After the first few races, I was kind of thinking not. I kind of was around 3rd or 4th or 5th in most sessions. But it was good to pull out a pole here. That was a PB by about 2.5 tenths, so I was pretty shocked there. But Reese and Daniel are still very quick, and with a drop round, one bad weekend doesn't hurt you too bad. So I'd say I'm still kind of aiming for 2nd or 3rd, really.
Well, still plenty of time to see how it all plays out. We've got 4 rounds left to go. If you can repeat this sort of performance for the rest of it, then mate, in there with a shot. You never know. We'll be cheering you on from the booth. Hopefully, another few opportunities to chat to you yet. But for tonight, a well-earned win after an hour and a half of Watkins Glen. We'll let you go and rehydrate a bit. Hey, congratulations once again.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. Thanks, Biggles. Cheers, guys.
Jeremy Washington taking P1. Biggles, not how I expected that to finish. I'll be honest. I did not see that result coming. An awesome drive from our top 3 there in Washington, Salhani and Benno, but I honestly expected to be calling something very, very different based on I guess what we kind of expected from the fuel numbers, but just a strategy masterclass proving that it's not necessarily the outright pace that'll get you home in an endurance race with GT3s.
Yeah, Jeremy finishing, in P1, of course, but he boxed back in lap 17th. Now, James finished in P2, boxed in lap 50, and then Joshua boxed on lap 17th. So that strategy of boxing early did pay off for both Joshua and Jeremy. And of course, the situation for the rest of the drivers boxed on lap 50 or so forth, all the way down to.
I think that's all of your final lap ones, actually.
Yeah.
James,
well,
James
sorry,
was
it is.
lap 18.
Yeah, my apologies.
Lap 18.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. There it is. I'm just
those...
making sure you pay attention.
Yeah, of course. But you look at P3 backwards, and all on around about lap 35, give or take. Somehow, the front three managing to make it through that extra 20 odd laps, and getting to the end. We're going to have to give you an update on the championship points next time around, folks, because unfortunately tonight things just not calculating the way that we had hoped. But I can estimate for you that this is going to push Jeremy Washington and Josh Benno further up the field. Reese Wakefield will potentially drop back a little, so keep your eye on next week's race coverage to see how it's all played out from Watkins Glen here. But I think for this evening, Biggles, we'll have to call it there. A phenomenal lot of racing. The final question for you, driver of the day tonight, who do you reckon has earned that one from us?
I'd go for Ryan Palmer. He's gained 12 P4, just missed out on the podium, but don't give it to the older ADHD racing machine for the number 16 Ford. And I don't like Fords too much, my friend, but give it to Ryan Palmer. He threw that forward and he gained it 12 P4. Driver of the day.
I tend to agree. He held off so many challenges from the likes of Gilbert and Mick Poley throughout that last half hour as well to make it across the line, still in P4, up 12 positions. Yeah, Ryan Palmer, your Simple Racing Broadcast Driver of the Day, goes to you, my friend. So congratulations. And on that note, a massive thank you to, of course, our major sponsors here, with Domains2U making this GT3 Championship possible. Of course, Sixpence Coffee Roasters and iRacing Designs also heavily sponsoring, along with Maximum Effort Racing. And of course, can't forget the other supporters we do have around the place. I don't know what to expect from the rest of the season, Biggles. I really don't. It's going to be very, very close after these results. We've got some points to calculate, and of course some penalties to take into account after some of the incidents here tonight. But for now, I think that's us, don't you?
It is. Thank you very much. Enjoy your holiday in Queensland. Enjoy your holiday anywhere else in Australia as well. Well, it is. Tomorrow is another day, but this championship is starting to heat up, and I'm looking forward to it. And thank you once again for allowing me into the booth as well. To GG's to the Triple J's on top of it. Jeremy, James, and Joshua taking all the bubbly stuff on the podium.
Huge finish, and of course from everyone here at Simple Racing Broadcast, a massive thank you to everyone watching at home. Until next week, do make sure you've got us subscribed so you don't miss any of the action as we continue to bring you the rest of this GT3 season. 4 more weeks to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it wraps up. And of course, the drivers vote track for week 8, which will be with us before you know it. Until then, do stay safe, take care on the roads. Remember, this is simulated racing. This is not real life. It's a lot safer to crash here. And a big shout out to everybody else, of course, who's been there in the chat with us tonight. Until then, take care, and we will see you next week. It is goodbye for now.